Hello everyone, it is Toby here and we are back again for another Friday talk. This one is on a topic that one of you guys commented on the last one, so if you want to see any topic discussed here on the channel, leave it in the comments below and we will definitely get to it. But in today's video, as you've seen by the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be talking about those things that you can only learn through competing in some fashion. Now, this is going to focus mainly on strongman because that is the thing I have competed in, but some of these principles can definitely apply to other sports across the strength training spectrum and of course just in general across any sort of competition. Now, I'm still very much a novice to competing. I have done 3 different strongman competitions, but I feel like I have learned a hell of a lot from those 3 and I'm going to continue learning as I go forward in my strongman training career. So if you want to see how that career goes, go down below, hit subscribe, check out my other videos where we have got lots of training sessions up. We're currently working towards a 300 kilo deadlift and it is right on the horizon in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that, but in this video I'm going to talk about everything that I have learned through competing, and I believe you can only learn through competing. So by watching this video you will have an edge over everyone else who has never competed before, because you will know to expect these few things that you only get once you have competed. So strap in, get ready to learn a few things that I have already learned over the 3 competitions I have done, and of course I'm going to be continuing to learn as I move forward. I am by no means an expert when it comes to strongman or strongman training. I'm getting pretty good at it, but I am still very much an amateur, so I just tell you guys what I have learned through this. I'm still learning all the time, and that's fantastic because it's going to give me more content to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's jump into exactly what I have learned via doing competitions. So the first thing, and possibly the biggest thing I have learned through doing competitions, is that you need to be able to be adaptable, and there is no better way than learning to be adaptable than to do these competitions, because every single competition something goes wrong or something changes the lay of the land in the competition. For example, at Oxfordshire's Strongest Man in 2024 we had the most horrendous weather. It wasn't even that bad, but it was miserable, it was raining, it was grim, and we just had to suck it up and deal with it. It meant the events changed as well, so not necessarily everything that I had trained for was in the competition, but you just suck it up and you get it done. If it's raining, you've got to learn how to pick up a sandbag in the rain, which you may not have trained beforehand, because when it's raining you go, not going to do sandbag today, the weather's pretty grim. But if you go out and do it in the weather, then you're prepared. And this is why general preparedness is one of the biggest assets as a strongman you can have. Just being able to be athletic, being able to be strong in a variety of different movements, and not laser focusing in on the events, because events do change due to the weather, due to equipment failures, due to just changes of the minds of the organisers. They can change all of the time. I have competed 3 times and had event changes in 2 of those times. So it is a fairly common thing. And the biggest one for me, as I mentioned, was Oxfordshire's Strongest Man. I had been training super hard for the tyre flip and I was really looking forward to getting it done. And then all of a sudden, because of the weather, the tyre flip got changed into a max distance Husafell sandbag carry at 140 kilos, which is a weight I had never carried even remotely close to. The biggest thing I had carried was about 100 kilo for about 60 meters. So what do you do when that happens? Well, you just have to do it. You just have to get it done. And because I had been training not just the events for the competition, but also other events that are going to make me generally prepared, getting my cardio and conditioning up and continuing to keep my cardio and conditioning up all year round, meant that on a max distance event, when your cardio can be the limiting factor, I didn't burn out. Even though it was a much heavier bag than I'd ever touched before, I was able to keep going, and I actually placed about 3rd on that event, which was my best placing of the whole competition, and it was on an event I didn't even train for, because I was ready, I was prepared, and I could adapt to the changing events, the changing conditions, much better than some other people. And so that is my biggest takeaway from that competition, was continue to be generally prepared for conditioning, for fitness, for strength, in a wide variety of different situations, and continue to not put your training sessions off if the weather or the conditions are less than ideal, because you never know what the conditions are going to be on the day. It was forecast to be sunny on that competition day, and it rained the whole time. But because throughout my training I'd been out in the rain, doing all the events out in the rain, whatever conditions, on gravel, wherever, I was prepared for that, and I was able to do far better in the rain than some of the other competitors. On the loading medley, for example, it finished on a 120 sandbag, and not many people were able to pick it up because it was sodden, it was soaked through. And what I did, which no one else that I saw did, is I covered my arms with chalk, and then I sheltered my arms against my chest, so that running out to the competition floor, none of the chalk got washed off, none of it got wet, and I kept it like that until I started the event, and then there was enough chalk left to be able to get the grip on that sandbag and fully send it. So being able to adapt is the biggest thing that competition teaches you, that you might not necessarily have in your locker, because whenever you do a program or a strength training program, you've got the numbers written down, you go to the same gym every time, you know exactly what is gonna be in the cards for that day, and it doesn't change at all. And now competition day, you have no idea what's going to change, and then all of a sudden you panic, you don't know what to do when something changes, because you're so used to being in that rigid setup in the gym, doing all your events perfectly, because competition's not perfect. Now, the second thing you can only learn from competition that you definitely have to be prepared for, and it comes under the being able to adapt banner, but it's all equipment feels different. And it is very annoying when it does. So I had been training for Oxfordshire Strongest Man. I'd been training for a max log press. And in training, I'd put up 115 kilo super easily many times. And my whole goal for the competition was go in and lift 120. And at this point, I had only ever used one log. I had used my log that I ordered years ago and had done all my training on. And then when it got to the competition, the log that we used felt completely different. Now, I had never had an issue cleaning logs before. It was always the press that messed me up. Yet, when it came to doing 120 on this log, it was just so much slippier and so much less easy to clean than my one. I just could barely get it up to my chest, and then once I was up there, I was completely gassed for the press, and I messed up that event, and it was my most disappointing thing that came out of that competition. It was a really low placing. I knew I could do better, but just because I wasn't used to the equipment and the equipment felt very different, I wasn't able to get the result that I wanted. So since then, I've been going and training on various different logs, different bits of equipment at various different gyms, just to make sure that no matter what piece of equipment I'm using, it all feels the same all the time, and I'm able, again, to adapt to different pieces of equipment, because, again, you have no idea how things are going to feel on competition day. So that was a hard pill to swallow, a hard lesson to learn, but I'm sharing it with you guys because I've learned it so you don't have to, and I know that many of the pros have spouted on about a lot of this stuff before, but hopefully I'm giving you a more amateur insight to stuff that, even though I knew this was a possibility, I overlooked, and then when it came to my competitions, I flunked them. Now, the third thing that you will only learn from competition is that you will be knackered. You will be fried, and you're gonna have to deal with doing events when you're not fresh. You're gonna have to deal with being slightly down on performances you've done in the gym, but knowing that you can do enough to win the event, win the competition, get as many points as you possibly can. Competition days usually last anywhere from about 5 hours to my longest being about 8 hours of competing. And it is long. You get no time to warm up, even though you've got so much time between events. It is a tough thing to do. And I don't know about you, but my longest training session lasts maybe 3 hours tops. And at the end of them, I am absolutely fried. And that is usually only doing one set of body part movements, one set of things. So, for example, a deadlift and back day might last close to 3 hours, but I'm only doing deadlifts and back, so my legs are relatively fresh, my pressing strength relatively fresh, whereas in competition, you are competing and taxing everything for about 5 to 8 hours, and you're going to be tired. And the thing you need to know from competitions is that it's okay to be tired. You need to not lose your head. You need to not think about the fact you're tired. You need to use the adrenaline you get from the crowd, you get from competing, to get through the events, because your body can hang on a lot longer than you expect to. But you're going to hurt afterwards, but that's for after the competition to deal with. So what you need to do is you need to not lose your head if after event 3, say, you're really starting to fatigue, you're really starting to fry. Don't chug loads of caffeine. Don't do like any of that stuff that you think is going to wake you up, hype you up, because it might have a detrimental effect on you. If you have too much caffeine, you can get the shakes, you can get anxious, you can upset your stomach, you know, all of these things. So you want to have a regular amount of caffeine that you would normally have for a training session and just try and ride it out for a bit longer. And that, I think, is the biggest one that catches people off guard, is they don't realise just how tired you can get while doing competition, because you've done all the events in training, you've done everything in training, and you know that you can work hard. But competition's a whole different ball game, because you're doing the events in training on different days, programmed well with rests between them. It's not until you get to the competition itself that you have to do them all on the same day. You just have to rely on the fact that you've trained these events, your body knows what it's doing, you've just got to hang on. And the last point I'm going to make that you can only learn from competitions is that no one's out to get you. Everyone there is supportive and wants to build you up, and even though you're competing against each other, really, everyone there is competing against themselves to do better than they've done in the gym. Now, I'm sure there are a few exceptions, a few bad apples in there that are there to win, and they are there to knuckle down, don't want to talk to anyone, you know, just really want to focus in. And there's nothing wrong with that unless they're being rude to people. But for the most part, in my experience, every time I've done a competition, I've come out of the competition friends with most of the people I've competed with, whether they've beaten me, whether I've beaten them. Everyone gets on and everyone cheers for each other. So that is the sort of wholesome thing I wanted to end this video on, that most people don't realise when they go into a competition, because they're watching the top guys who go in and they want to win, and even the top guys are all friends behind the scenes anyway. So at the lower level, when it's not as serious as that and you're just going in to see what you can do, see if you can better yourself, get PBs, everyone else is doing the same and everyone else has the same passion that you do. So at the end of the competition, you'll come out with hopefully not just PBs, maybe even a win, but you'll come out with a bunch of good new friends. And that is exactly what I've done. I've kept in contact with a lot of people I've competed with, and they are some of my best friends, really, because, you know, strongman's a rare thing. Not many people do strongman. Not many people in my life outside of competition and training do strongman. And that's exactly why I do this YouTube channel, because I don't have many people to talk to strongman about. So I talk to you guys about it and talk to you guys about my training, and you guys talk back, and we have a great community going on. And if you want to be a part of that community, go down below, hit subscribe and hit like on the video. Comment down below what you have learned from competition that I might have missed in this video. Obviously, I still have a lot to learn. I have still a long way to go, and I'm going to keep going. And speaking about community, if you want to go above and beyond and join a very exclusive part of this community, you can go down below and click join on the channel, and that will give you access to the members only section. We have 2 tiers of members. We have the stay in the loop members, which gets you part of the community. You get access to members only posts, you know, priority replies, that sort of thing. But the main one you want to be in is the member club, where you get access to all the members only videos in the future when we have a bigger community over there, members only live streams, and of course all the other stuff, and just full access to the members only section, which is a really fun place. And I try and get at least a video a week out over there, and as that grows I'll get more and more out, and as that grows I want to hear from you guys over there what you want to see in that members only section, because I pretty much have no limits. I just want to chat over there, chat about strongman, chat about lifting. I do a lot of my grip training over there. So if any of that sounds like something you want to be a part of, it would massively, massively support the channel. I don't make money off of this apart from via the members. So it would be massively, massively helpful if you could. But anyway, that is not a requirement. A subscription and a like is more than enough support. I've been Toby. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. As I said, leave in the comments below any further tips that I didn't speak about in this video, and I will see you in the next one.